Hey, welcome back, guys. Welcome back to another episode of One Take. Today we are talking about the very anticipated sequel, Ready or Not 2, of which we just saw, and just sequels in general, how we feel about them, how we feel about Ready or Not 2. And yeah, you know how this works. We're going to put 45 seconds on the clock to give our very brief um, like, seance into what we want to say. So, Dave, I guess you can start. I will start the
Sure.
clock whenever you are ready.
All right. So, Ready or Not 2. It was a disappointment for me. I'll cut right to the
Yeah.
chase. We only have 45 seconds. It does everything in the first, not as good. It definitely felt to me like a movie that didn't feel like they really had a true story to tell. They wanted to make a sequel for the money or just because they could.
Mm.
I thought it was still pretty funny. Samara Weaving is still really strong. If you're looking for just fun, gory action, you'll get it here. I'm definitely a bit more harsh on it just because it's a sequel. It's an okay time at the movies, but
Yeah.
overall, I'd give it a negative review, and I would give it a 4.5 out of 10.
Sick.
Right in
Okay.
time.
So yeah, I am going to actually agree with Dave. I thought it was very disappointing. Right off the back, I give it like a 4 out of 10. I mean, just the whole aspect of it, I do appreciate the fact that it was literally right after the first one. The events take place right after, at least. The first half was promising, but then it just very rapidly declined. It turned into the movie itself is goofy at times, like the franchise, but they took it to the next level with this one, where they just completely kind of forgot who Samara Weaving's character is. The decision making is poor, more poor in this one, and yeah, just disappointing.
Perfect time, right there. All right.
I was stressing, man. Yeah.
So now we can kind of expand a little bit on our reviews. Clearly, we feel actually very strongly in agreement about this one take.
Mhm.
Um, but we could discuss a little further just about the movie, and then we also have a little bit where we want to talk more about another disappointing sequel that we individually
Yes.
want to
Hmm.
shed light on.
A,
So
a personal sequel, yeah.
yeah, well, so we just started a little bit more on the negative side, saying it was a disappointment. So
Hmm.
let's go back to the positives a little bit. Let's give
But
them their
yeah,
flowers for what they achieved. I did think there was some fun to be had. I think the one scene that really
yeah.
stands out to me was the one at the kind of where they were hosting a wedding. Well, it,
Wedding.
it involves the song "Total Eclipse of the Heart." I'll say that as well. That will
Okay,
that
okay.
will that will
Yeah.
specify it enough for people. That's it. I don't want to go too much into spoilers. So that's all I'll
Hmm.
say. That was my favorite scene in the movie. That was really fun. I thought the dynamic between the sisters was okay. Um,
Mm.
I can get more into that a little bit in the negatives though, but it
Yeah.
was a cool element to add where yeah, okay, now there's two of them both trying to survive together.
Mm.
And so I thought that was pretty cool. Not a
That's the
whole
thing.
lot.
I definitely have more negatives than positives. I mean, as I said before, one positive, very small, but I just like the fact that it took up literally right after the events of the first one. I thought that was
Mm,
pretty cool. Um, Positives, the first, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes in the movie, I thought it was actually done very well. The pacing was good. The acting, decision making, how it was lining up to be as a movie. But then that's when the decline happened, which we'll get into later. Samara Weaving, of course, is excellent as always. Um,
cool cast all around for the most part.
yeah, actually, see, dude, it's just such a forgetful movie,
A
to
little
be
bit.
honest.
A little
Like,
bit.
I'm having trouble remembering what actually happened. I just remember not liking it, you
Yeah.
know?
I thought Elijah Wood was pretty good. He was
Oh, I
he was
forgot
fun
he
to
was in
see.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's a pretty big part of it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
he was cool. He plays like kind of the attorney who's responsible for um
This character confused me
performing these games.
of like
He's
who he
very much an
was,
enigma.
but yeah.
He's not associated with anybody specifically, but he's just like, "Oh, hey, I'm the lawyer guy." And it's like, "Okay,
He
sure."
was good though. He was definitely the
I thought he was good.
second best actor in it. Yeah, but behind Samara
Behind
Weaving.
Samara.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd
yeah.
agree with that. Um Yeah, Samara's still great. That's
Yeah.
a huge positive. I mean, she knows this role. She's great in
Hmm.
this type of role. And I agree with the
Ooh,
setup. I
yeah.
think
Hmm.
how they set up this whole um larger world around Mr. LaBelle and how there's these other
Yeah.
families and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. It was decent.
Well,
Very
actually,
much John Wick like 2
oh yeah,
inspired how
that's
they
a good
expanded
point.
on things for better and for worse, I would say.
Mm.
Uh,
Actually, I did think of another positive as you were talking about that.
great.
One thing that I did appreciate was the fact that those who participated actually went after it and tried to, kill her,
Hmm.
as opposed to in the first movie where they tried, but then they were just stopped and just kind of sat back and waited for their butler to do all the work and bring her to her. But
Yep.
instead, in this one, they actually went after her, which I appreciated, except for the main family again. I think they're just a lazy family, to be honest. But yeah, that I appreciated.
Well, I think in the first one it was the fact that they were so used to just getting the kill pretty quickly. They didn't have somebody survive like what happened in the first movie. So
Well, yeah,
that's what
but
threw
they're
them off
supposed to
guard.
go after
Yeah.
whoever it is
Yeah.
and try to kill him. And they
Yep.
just didn't.
Yeah, I understand that. I guess we could mention our thoughts on the first one as well. I thought that the first movie I think is a horror comedy classic. I really adore that
Yeah,
movie. I
yeah.
I give that movie like a 9 out of 10. So that's why the sequel really comes as a disappointment for me, especially because I really love the first one. It has such good momentum. It has such intense moments,
Mm.
without losing the sense of what the movie is all about, which I think this sequel definitely does. So I'm good to move to
Yeah,
more of the negatives that we want to talk about if you are.
yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, so just the expanded world's kind of cool, but I think the characters they introduced are just very like cartoonish and
Forgettable.
stereotypical in a boring way. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, I think that stereotypical characters can be really fun and can fit a story, but here they weren't all that interesting to me. I thought the family from the first one, we learned a little bit more about them. They had a bit
hmm,
more layering to them in my opinion, and
hmm,
they really built up in the first movie more of the family dynamics better, whereas the sequel, it's all people who barely know each other. They're just all associated
right.
through this game.
Hmm.
And I thought that they made up these exceptions to rules and they played around with the
Mm.
rules
Yeah.
that that's a story beat that happens sometimes in movies that I almost always hate. I don't like the idea of, oh, we have the
Yeah.
rules to like this very specific sort of game or whatever we're doing. Oh, but there's
Hmm.
this one weird rule exception that's in like I just think it's
Oh yeah, I
ridiculous.
forgot about that. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
very forgettable. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just it was silly to me.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'd say there's two really big, very strong disappointments for why I didn't like this movie, or why it was a disappointment at least. One of them being the dynamic. Yeah, the dynamic between the sisters. But I can understand because they had a history of like falling out, which I get. You're gonna get to that, but they made it as if that their falling out was more important than them trying to get killed. Like all they cared
Yeah.
about was
Yep, I
the
agree.
sisters. They were focusing so much on the sisters trying to patch things up
Yep.
instead of trying to survive, and it was just annoying trying to hear like, "Oh, you left me as a kid. How
Yep.
could you do that?" As they're getting like shot at with shotguns, and I'm like, "Okay, deal with that after.
Yeah, right?
Like, let's focus on, trying to not die."
Yep. Or they would just fully pause. Like sometimes they'd be getting
Yeah,
chased, or
yeah,
or sometimes again it kills the momentum. The first movie I think
hmm,
nails it perfectly. The pace is so good in that movie, and this one's
right,
like almost the entire opposite, where it's like, okay, stop the action. Let's have them argue a little bit about how Samara abandoned
mm,
Catherine Newton. Who Catherine Newton, to be honest, I have not seen her in a lot of stuff. I thought she was very fine
lacking.
in this
Yeah, she
movie.
was okay in
She
this,
was
not that
okay.
great, but yeah,
I don't think she really brought a whole lot to the table. Did I
mm.
believe them as sisters? Somewhat, I guess.
Yeah,
But I think Samara Weaving, to be honest, I think just prove. I think bringing in
mm,
Catherine Newton was cool and it was a cool dynamic, but it just proved even more how perfect Samara Weaving is for the role and
mm,
just how strong of an actor that she is. Catherine Newton, she's fine, but not on the level, in my opinion, of Samara Weaving.
You know.
And yeah, the sister dynamic, it wasn't that well developed. It's something that came out of nowhere. We didn't know about it from the
Yeah.
first movie, so they just brought it in. That can happen. I mean, with sequels, like there's nothing wrong with that, but I just don't think it was executed super well.
It was a good idea, just at the
Yeah.
like you said, the execution was done poorly. And to tie in the sisters to my second biggest flaw is what they did to Samara Weaving's character in general. It kind of felt like they made her hmm, unserious, I guess is the right way to say it, in the movie. Like it felt like they made her more of a joke than who she was in the first movie. Like she just didn't, I guess, care as much. She cared about other things as opposed to what was actually happening. But then there were serious parts where we saw uh, her usual character, which I appreciated, of course. But there were just moments where I was like, why? Like, why have her do this? Why is she doing that? It just felt like they kind of forgot at times who her character
Mm.
is and meant to be.
Yeah. Actually, you know something else I noticed that like I feel like I maybe I'm misremembering, but from what I remember, I feel like the Samara and Catherine Newton barely get beat up in this movie. Not nearly as much. Like I feel like there's very
Mm,
distinct moments in the first movie that you remember
yeah,
the most because it was like, oh my God, they're putting her through like some really brutal stuff. Like think about the moment with the
right.
nail, thinking about
Mm,
the moment with the fence where she has to like squeeze through the fence and it scrapes her
yeah.
back. Like
Mm,
she properly gets beat up in the first movie. I don't think we really had that in this one. I mean, they definitely do, but if you look by
mm,
the end of the movie, it's like they're kind of okay. They didn't it doesn't seem
yeah.
like they just went through like this next level life-threatening people
Mm,
from all around the world now have come to chase after them and whatever.
right.
Um so I
Actually, I
think
think the sister got beat up more than Samara Weaving, to be
yeah,
honest.
probably. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that if the sister's more
Yeah.
than her, but like I just don't think it was as much. I mean, I think there was a lot of plot armor in this movie compared to the first
Mm,
one. There definitely was some in the
yeah.
first one as well.
Well, the goofiness obviously was a part of the franchise. Like, I can appreciate some humor in there, but it felt like the goofiness that they wanted to put in felt like corny at times to me instead of like how it was shaped in the first movie. Like for instance, in the first 20, this is when the drop off happened for me. When she Samara leaving, when she was like, "Oh, she was in the hospital. She was like, "Oh, I might have to fight these guys again. I need clothes." And then she goes to pick up her wedding dress again and she puts it on, trying to be all like,
Oh, that was
badass and
yeah.
something.
That's what
I
I was
was
gonna actually
like,
mention. That the
yeah,
suit up thing, why did she have to get back in the dress? Outside of just
I
like, oh,
yeah,
it's a superhero suit up. Like, come on, man. Come on.
yeah. If I was by myself watching that, I would have walked out. I was like, all right, this is just
Yeah. That was a big
so
eye roll.
so corny.
That was
Like,
like one of the biggest eye rolls for me when I saw that. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, she's putting the dress back on. Here we go. It's like, come on.
And it was meant to be like, oh my god, yeah, look at it go. And I'm like, no, that's just awful. That's
Yeah.
just so bad. But yeah.
What would have been actually, you know what they could have done that I think would have worked so much better?
Mm,
I'm still not super into the idea of her putting the dress back on, but like I get how it fits the character and everything. Just
yeah.
have the people running the game make her wear that because of the fact that that's what got her
Yeah.
into the game
Yeah.
is
Actually,
is
yeah.
that she's a newlywed bride. She has to play this game. So instead of her just randomly throwing it on at the hospital for no reason, just have it so that she gets captured and
Yeah.
then when they're explaining the new game to her where she now has to fight all these people or whatever, or she's gonna get
Mm,
chased by all these people, and they then tell her she has to put it back on
right.
because that's who she is. She's a newlywed, and that's the whole nature of the game. Like,
I like
just
that. Yeah.
just change that, and okay, now it works. Now you can do the kind of
Hmm.
suit up thing and be like, oh shit, she's back in the dress. That's awesome, you know?
Right. No, yeah. I sounds like you should have wrote this, but
No, no,
yeah.
no, definitely not. So yeah, I think just to summarize things, I think this movie does almost everything worse than the first movie.
It's a
Um,
fine movie, but not really. It's worth seeing, but not rewatching.
Yeah, I'm definitely more negative on it just because again, the nature of sequels like this, I really am against very strongly.
Yeah,
So, again, if this movie was just existing on its own, I'd maybe be at like a 5.5, 6. Like, I'd give it a
yeah, yeah.
slightly positive review. But when we're
Hmm.
taking into account, okay, this is supposed to be related to the first Ready or Not, that's such a great movie, and it does all the things worse. We
Yeah.
didn't need to see another story with these characters. The way they tried to expand things didn't work for me. It's a negative review, but people might have fun
Hmm.
with it if they really love the first one. So, up to you guys based on what you've heard, whether you want to
Yeah.
check it out. Now, moving forward to, we're gonna have a brief little discussion about a couple other disappointing sequels that we've
Yeah.
experienced in our movie watching days. So we want to just expand out to just what is a movie that we each think is the most disappointing sequel. Sequel
Mm.
meaning direct follow-up,
Yeah.
meaning only the second movie in like a franchise or series. So we're not saying
Yeah.
like number 5, 6, Fast
Hmm.
11, Teen. Um,
Yeah.
only the second movie in a franchise or just a duology, whatever you want to call it, that is
Hmm.
the biggest drop off from the first. So it's not necessarily
Yeah.
just the straight up worst movie that is a sequel. It is what is the movie that most disappoints us? That's the biggest drop off from the first movie to the second.
Mm.
So, would you like to take the lead on this one since I start off with Ready or Not 2?
Yeah, sure. I'll take the lead. So I was rewatching two movies of which I knew I think I was like, yeah. But one of them is extremely controversial, but I changed my mind. I was like, ah, never mind. That's actually a very good movie. But the one that I picked is a widely known disappointing sequel, so it's not very unique. Iron Man 2,
Hmm. Yeah.
it just felt very hmm, if again, it felt like it lost direction. Like Tony
Yep.
Stark, I understand that he's kind of they kind of altered his character in a way of like not caring to the max. Because like in that movie, I don't know if you've seen it.
It's been
Um,
a long time. I could not tell you a thing that happens in Iron Man 2.
yeah,
I really like the first Iron Man though. I think that's one of the better movies in the MCU.
right. No, but in the second movie, he's like dying from his whatever it's called, the thing that's keeping him alive. But like he does try to obviously find a way to like not die, but he puts like the littlest amount of effort in to finding it, and then just goes ballistic and starts doing like dumb stuff that you would do when you know you're gonna die instead of actually trying to do it. Like I know his character is like very unserious, but like it felt out of character for Tony Stark to be like to not want to find a way to live instead of accepting death. Um, the villain is just lame. There's
Who is the
nothing
villain?
to him. It's some guy with the whip. I don't even know his name to
Oh,
be honest.
oh no, I can't
Like
remember.
Draco or something. That might be
Yeah,
Harry Potter, but yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah, I know who you're talking
No,
about though.
but
And aren't they at a racetrack at some point?
yes, and at the racetrack, the fight sequence when Tony gets his suit takes 2 seconds, and then the villain gets defeated. Tony literally just flips him over, and then he's done. I'm like, wow, that was like the most anticlimactic thing ever. And also at the racetrack, there were so many police officers around that could have just like shot him, but they did nothing.
They
I was
just
like,
watched.
okay, it's just like little nitpicky things that I really don't like. And then, of course, at the end, there was another final battle of which they recycled from the first movie, where he gets an Iron Man suit, evil Iron Man suit, and then again he's defeated in 2 seconds. He does another, you know, explosion thing, and then bam, he's done in 2 seconds. And another thing, it felt like nothing really happened in this movie, like at all. It felt like nothing. Well, the introduction of Black Widow was cool, of course. This was
Oh, that
her
was in two. Okay.
introduction.
Yep.
So that
Where she
it's
beats
a
up John
bad
Favreau, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that was
it's a
funny.
bad sign when the best part of the movie that's titled and meant for the main character, and the best part is a side character. like she was the best part of this movie instead of uh, who was actually supposed to be, the star of the movie.
Yeah.
And it just felt like a recycled Iron Man one, but it done in a worse way. And it felt like just kind of like a throw in to the introduction of the Avengers, because that's also when this is like Nick Fury's um, full introduction instead of the uh, end credit scene.
Hmm.
Like he's fully in this one. He was like, "Hey, check out! You should be considered for the Avengers." And that's the first. I believe that's the first time we hear about them. So it just felt like a unnecessary push for the Avengers. Obviously, you have to mention it, but they brought it up so many times that it felt like forced
Okay.
into it.
Yeah. Good points all around. Yeah. Yeah, I can't really say much because it's been so long since I watched it, but the fact that I can't remember Iron Man 2, I can definitely remember the first Iron Man much better.
Yeah.
I think that says enough. I definitely agree with you that that was definitely a big drop off. But that is not my biggest disappointment. No.
Mm.
My biggest
Yeah.
disappointment is actually, I would say, fairly similar to the Ready or Not 2 situation, and that is
Mm.
Die Hard 2. Both
Mm.
action movies, both the first movie, in my opinion, are really, really strong, and so that's what makes the disappointment so much more. Die Hard 2 is
Yep.
not necessarily a terrible movie, but it just doesn't hold a candle to the first Die Hard, which
Mm.
I would consider to be one of the greatest action movies of all time. Such a smart
Wow.
script, um,
Mm.
such good momentum, such great characters, so many iconic things about that first movie. And the second movie very much feels like, okay, they don't know what to do, so they're just gonna do the same thing again, but change a few things up.
Yeah.
It's on Christmas again. Oh, what a coincidence
Oh,
that,
is it?
yep,
Okay. Yeah.
it's on Christmas again, but it barely does the Christmas aspect of it nearly as well as the
Mm.
first one. The first one, I would say, is a Christmas movie. I know that's a whole debate. We're not here to debate that, but
Yeah.
there's very clear themes and moments in the first movie that really tie it into Christmas really strongly.
Mm.
The second one lacks a lot of that. The second one,
Yeah.
he's at an airport instead of at a skyscraper. Not that crazy of a difference. They do a lot of the same stuff. The action's not nearly as good. It gets a lot more. The first Die Hard is known for being like fairly like realistic and intense, where it's like it doesn't feel like John McClane is invincible. It feels like a guy
Hmm.
who's very much an underdog, just trying to work things out. The second one, he
Yeah.
survives like a bunch of grenades that are like literally feet away from him, and he gets shot up into
Yeah.
the sky out of a plane, and bunch of ridiculous stuff. There's a villain twist in the movie that just does not work. It's not set up well. It's so random. It's a major eye roll for me. The main
Mm.
villain isn't very interesting. Not nearly as interesting as Hans Gruber, played by Alan Rickman in
Yeah.
the first one. That's an iconic villain performance. One of the best
Mm.
villains, possibly of all time. That could be another one take one day.
Yeah.
Um, but just so many great things about the first one where they just did a straight up rehash, did everything worse, much like how I feel
Mm.
already or not too, but even more so with
Yeah.
Die Hard 2. I think Die Hard 2 is an even worse movie. I can understand
Interesting.
maybe if some people have fun with it, but I just found it very silly, not very
Hmm.
exciting, and I just doesn't hold a candle to the first one, which is very hard to do. Like I don't necessarily expect my sequels to be perfect, but
Hmm.
give me a good reason to make it and have a story to tell that's unique, that's fun, that actually builds on characters or storylines or whatever, then we're cooking. Die Hard 2,
Yeah.
the flames weren't burning for that one, I'll tell you that. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I'll get
that's what
around
I
to
got.
that one.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
haven't seen Die Hard 2?
I think I've seen like 2 minutes of it.
Yeah, you don't have
Yeah.
to see any more than that. You don't have to see any more than that. So
Yeah.
yeah, go watch Die Hard, don't watch Die Hard 2. Long
Yeah.
story short. So that's all I have to say.
All
There you
right.
go. Ready or Not 2. Big disappointment for us. What did you guys think? Let us know.
Hmm.
If you guys like the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more one takes, and also check out all of our other content. We are independent filmmakers. We have a film wheel series on the channel that you guys can check out where we make our own films, and we released The Pitch last year. So check that out as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys very soon.